Hey, welcome to Bikes, Boats, and Bivouacs. Today I have author Bob Ballantyne with me, and we're going to talk about his book on the outdoors. Okay, so I have with me Colonel Bob Valentine, and he's actually my dad, so I'm calling him Pop. Everybody refers to him as Colonel Bob in YouTube world. Why don't you talk about your background so folks know why you wrote this particular book? And the book we're talking about is Woodlands, Waterways, and Mother Nature.
Well, I was trained as a biology teacher a long time ago and taught biology at the high school in Boyertown for about 30 years and was a hunter and a fisherman my entire life. And I started outdoor writing for a local newspaper and eventually ended up writing for a magazine for about 5 years. And all the stories that I wrote for this particular publication were hunting, fishing, hiking, camping stories, experiences that I had myself. But in the middle of each of them, there's a nature story, something that I came across in the woods or on the streams or on the lakes while I was out fishing that had to do with the biology that was in my background.
Yeah, and that makes sense. You know, that you would put your biology background and your outdoor writing background together to create what I think is a great book, especially for outdoor enthusiasts that want their kids to know a little bit about the outdoors when they go exploring. So tell us a little bit about the book.
Well, the book is 9 chapters. They're seasonally oriented, and each of them each of the chapters have a whole series of short stories in it. You can pick this book up and set it down anytime you want to. It's not something you have to read through. And each chapter has these several stories in it. At the end of each story, there's additional facts that emphasize what was told in that little story. And at the end of the chapter itself, there's some questions that you can answer. You can use as an educational tool. And the answers to those questions are at the end of the book, and that's basically the way it's structured.
So I can pull into a campground, have my kids read one of the stories, and then perhaps go out into the woods exploring, and they'll know kind of what they're looking for, and they can ultimately find the answers in the back of the book. Is that how it's set up?
That's basically how it's set up.
And I don't have to read story number 1 before I read story number 4.
No, you could go anywhere in the book you want.
So that's a tremendous advantage. The book is not cumulative in knowledge that must be known to read the next story. So that's a great way to put the book up, because you never know where you're going to be camping or where you're going to be vacationing. So you can select the story that matches the area that you're in.
Yeah, and the stories are from the woods and fields in Pennsylvania. They're from my experiences in Yellowstone National Park. They're from my experiences along with you in the Florida Keys and British Columbia. So there's a whole variety of different biology lessons or nature lessons from different kinds of environments and ecosystems.
So we might want to read those stories ahead of going to those areas.
That would be a good way to do it, yes.
Can you give us an example of some of the types of things somebody can learn by reading the stories?
Okay, just to give you a quick example. Suppose you see a groundhog, or you come across a groundhog hole. There's a relationship between groundhogs and rabbits. It's a symbiotic relationship. But the groundhog digging that hole gives a place for the rabbit to run when he's chased by the fox.
One of the things that I notice in many of the videos that I see posted from people who are camping is they're always coming across deer in the state parks and the campgrounds. Are there any lessons in the book about deer?
In Florida Keys, they're key deer, and they're white-tail, and they're the same exact species that we have up here in Pennsylvania that you have in Maine. And if you think of a white-tailed deer up in Maine, they're very large. The key deer are very small. There was a biologist back in 1847 named Bergman who came out with Bergmans Rule, and it has to say that the further north a species lives, the larger it is. And so you see these animals in the woods, and you can just, explain to the person, if you ever get down to Florida, you're going to see a key deer, and it's going to be much smaller than the one that just ran through the Pennsylvania woods.
And what we can do, because we have video of key deer, and we have video from Pennsylvania of deer, I'm going to put them in right now. A lot of times we can see them right on the side of the road. He is really small. So you can see the difference in size between a key deer and a deer from Pennsylvania, and that'll really help to drive that point home, so you can see the difference. So when you go on your trips, this is something your kids can look at, or even the adults can enjoy looking at this, and you'll start to notice these subtle differences depending on where you're at on your trip.
And remember, the exact same species, they could interbreed if they ended up together 2,000 miles apart.
It's a long distance relationship. Who should want this book? Who are the people that you think would benefit most from having this book?
Well, you already pointed out to the RV crowd, but anybody who goes hunting, fishing, hiking, camping, it's all oriented to the outdoors, and it's oriented toward things you might walk by and never think about, but if you read the book, you'll start looking around when you're walking, and even if you can't explain what you see, you say there's that happened for some reason. Now I got to go look up why it happened.
And this book might have the answer.
It might have the answer.
So how do they get it? How does someone who's interested in purchasing this book acquire a copy?
Well, the easiest way probably is from Amazon.com. You can also get it if you're local in my area, down in the Boyertown, Pennsylvania area. You can get it at the Book Nook on the main drag in Boyertown. And you can get it from me at a phone number that Scott here is going to publish.
Okay, so I'll put a link in the description. So if you want to get it on Amazon, you can just click on that link and it'll take you right to the page to order that book. I'll also put the address of the Book Nook in Boyertown here if you want to get it from them if you're local. And also I'll put the contact information for Colonel Bob right here. And if you purchase the book directly from the Colonel, it's an autographed copy.
If they would like it, and also if they want it dedicated to somebody, as a gift to somebody, I can always sign it, some relative or friend or something.
So 3 different options for you to choose how to get this book. Consider it as a Christmas gift for that RVer or outdoor person that you just don't know what to get them. This might be the perfect gift. I'd like to thank you, Pop, for spending some time with us and talking about the book. It's a great read. I know I have my own copy, which is in the cabin. I might need another copy for the camper. Thanks for coming out. Hey, if this video helped you, consider subscribing to the channel. It's free, helps me out a lot. Also, ring that bell. You'll be notified every time I put up a new video, and give the video a thumbs up. That helps too. But more important than all that, go have some fun out there. Thanks for watching.